Leaders in Israel. We're at the end of the study on Ezra and Nehemiah. We looked at many things, from the historical context to the prophecy and promise for restoration of Israel, through the challenges and opposition, the amazing achievement that it was, the spiritual revival, and much more.
This week we're talking about leaders inspired by their love for God. What made them successful leaders and influencers? What motivated them?
Leadership is a huge topic. On one hand, we have a great demand for leaders in every area of society. On another hand, many will say, well, cool, but it's not for me. I don't care and I don't want to be a leader. But what we have to realize that even this is leadership. My activities, my decisions, or the lack of such influences people. The first thing that the lesson does is to look through the Bible for examples of leaders and their influences. Here are some. King Rehoboam, son of King Solomon, facing a challenge and dilemma, asks for an advice from his dad's elders, but doesn't follow it. He rather listens to his younger fellow who suggests for him to be tougher and to show who is the boss. One type of leaders. Another one is Apostle Peter, taking an unpopular stand not to impose Jewish traditions to Gentile Christians. It takes guts to overcome one's baggage and to stand up for what is right. Another example, King Josiah also taking an unpopular stand and leading Israel back to God, cleaning God's house, restoring true worship. Deborah, prophetess and judge in Israel, had to show Israel's men what it means, courage, trust in God and true leadership. On the other side, we have the greedy and coward King Ahab. And there are so many more examples all through the Bible.
Generally, we find leaders to be either good or bad influencers. And somehow the direction of their plans and strategies is dictated by their own intentions, their own choices. But some people might say, isn't it very subjective to make such a judgment about leaders? Because after all, we all look at leaders from our own personal perspective. I would disagree, because the human history is full of countless examples of good leaders who brought good stuff to those subjected to their influences. And also the history is full of countless examples of people who brought bad experiences to those subjected to them. The understanding of the Bible is that the leaders who did evil before the Lord made their subjects to suffer. So to a large extent, it's about the motivation of the leader that he or she has. Is it selfishness or selflessness? And those who follow the principles of the Bible and proclaim them through their own actions are usually respected, remembered, and revered leaders.
The main point that I get from all these examples of leaders listed in the Bible is the sense of responsibility. It's not just about being a good or a bad person. Good people can be bad leaders, and bad leaders can do good things. In Ezra and Nehemiah, we see that they understood the responsibility and the need for a relationship with God. The author says, the amount of fasting and praying that is recorded in these books about Ezra and Nehemiah exceeds what the Bible reports for other great leaders. From here, the lesson identifies and dives into some qualities for a leader: courage and empowerment, purpose and passion, humility and perseverance.
And what is a leader without courage or without the ability to empower those around them? Definitely, these are two very important qualities in a leader's character that can either make it or break it for them. Nehemiah, for example, had the courage to stand against all the enemies who lived around in the surroundings of Jerusalem. Also, He was personally involved in rebuilding the wall to the point that he says, "Neither I, nor my brothers, nor my men, nor the guards with me took off their clothes. Each had his weapon, even when we went for water." Such an example of courage and sacrifice and being hands-on with the project can only inspire people, can only empower people. And what's even more interesting is that Nehemiah himself was inspired to do everything that he did only by the promises of God.
Courage is very important, but it's not just about the lack of fear. Courage to face big difficulties and to be an example, inspiring, motivating, and empowering others. Oof, this by itself is such a big topic. Anyway, moving to purpose and passion.
Leaders have an idea where they're going and how to get there. Leaders have an idea what they want and how to get it. Leaders set up goals and they follow up with commitment and passion. Let's take Nehemiah, for example. He felt the urge to go back to Judah and rebuild the city of Jerusalem, the holy city of his ancestors. And he did it. Ezra, on the other side, had the passion for studying the scriptures and to teach the people, the nation, the word of God. Both of them, Ezra and Nehemiah, had their goals set and they didn't compromise until it was done. So these are another two big qualities of a successful leader's character. To have the purpose, but also to have the passion to achieve this purpose.
You have to love what you are doing, believe in its purpose. It gives heart to the leadership. Humility and perseverance are the last two items in this study guide.
Leaders nowadays, unfortunately, are usually recognized for their ego. And if we were to look back in history in the past 100 years, most of the examples of what the society has considered a good leader demonstrated an enormous selfishness and ego. Some of them were even classified later on as totalitarians or enemies of humankind and whatnot. A good leader understands humility, understands perseverance. And humility is exactly the opposite of being egocentric. Giving praise and credit to God and to those around us who are able to fill in the gaps of our imperfections. This is humility. And is it easy? No. However, it sets up an excellent example for those around us, and it betters off everybody.
It's not easy sometimes for leaders to work together. It does require humility. We don't have much information on how Ezra and Nehemiah worked together, but it seems that they got along. Perseverance, though, is also big and requires efforts. Hopefully we have found some inspiration in the studies this quarter. There are some relevant items for us today as well from this experience of restoration and revival. Next week we are starting a new study on the book of Daniel, but until then, take some time and consider the leadership challenge from this last lesson.